My name is Laura Pedreros. I am talking about an evaluation of diabetes in self-management in Ecuador and other countries. Definition: Diabetes mellitus is one of the most common chronic diseases worldwide. It's a globally epidemic metabolic disorder with a global prevalence of 8.4%. This high prevalence is expected to continue rising in the future.
There are two main types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. They're different conditions, but they're both serious. There are some other rarer types of diabetes too. What all types of diabetes have in common is that they cause people to have too much glucose in their blood. But we all need some glucose. It's what gives us our energy. We get glucose when our bodies break down the carbohydrates that we eat or drink, and that glucose is released into our blood. We also need a hormone called insulin. It's made by our pancreas, and it's insulin that allows the glucose in our blood to enter our cells and fuel our bodies. If you don't have diabetes, your pancreas senses when glucose has entered your bloodstream and releases the right amount of insulin so the glucose can get into your cells. But if you have diabetes, this system doesn't work. When you've got type 1 diabetes, you can't make any insulin at all. If you've got type 2 diabetes, it's a bit different. The insulin you make either can't work effectively or you can't produce enough of it. In both types of diabetes, because glucose can't get into your cells, it begins to build up in your blood. And too much glucose in your blood causes a lot of different problems. To begin with, it leads to diabetes symptoms like having to wee a lot, being incredibly thirsty and feeling very tired. You may also lose weight, get infections like thrush, or suffer from slow-healing wounds. Over a long period of time, high glucose levels in your blood can seriously damage your heart, your eyes, your feet, and your kidneys. These are known as the complications of diabetes. But with the right treatment and care, people can live a healthy life. And there's much less risk that someone will experience these complications. If you've got diabetes, you can find lots of information and support about living with it using our website and helpline. As well as campaigning for everyone with diabetes to get the right care, Diabetes UK fund research into all types of diabetes so we can develop new treatments and one day find a cure.
Application in nutrition. Diabetes is a chronic disease that requires a person with diabetes to make a multitude of daily self-management decisions and to perform complex care activities, to manage their illness and adopt lifestyle practices to prevent complications is widely recommended, particularly in populations where economic resources are limited. We can call it diabetes self-management education, DSME.
Hi, I'm Joan London. Managing diabetes can be complicated, even confusing, especially when you're first diagnosed. Working with a certified diabetes educator is really the best way to get the support that you need. Joining us is Christina Macchio, a certified diabetes educator, and Dr. Ann Albright, director of the CDC's Division of Diabetes Translation. You know, Ann, it just seems like it must be kind of overwhelming to a person to first get that diagnosis because you really do have to learn to manage it, right?
It's critical. It's like buying a new device and you need to have some instructions, otherwise you're flying in the dark. So getting diabetes self-management education and support is at the heart of good care.
So how do you go about working with patients?
So my goal with patients is to meet them where they are. I learned that very young when I started working in a public hospital. I had 70-year-olds, I had 30-year-olds, I had people of all ages in one room. Some people didn't speak English. So I had to speak food because that was a common language that everyone could get, and I used a lot of visuals. And from there, I really developed an approach to make people start feeling comfortable with this thing that they didn't ask for, but that they felt in better control of after a certain number of classes and workshops with me.
Are you also there to say, yeah, we're gonna figure out how to manage this, but you're still gonna be able to live your life okay?
Absolutely, you're still a person. You know, you're now a person with diabetes. Diabetes is not who you are.
All right, so this is like kind of the human touch, right? That's so important.
Yes, diabetes is very personal. There are millions of people in the country with diabetes and pre-diabetes, but each with diabetes has to find their journey and to be as successful as possible. And diabetes self-management education is critical to having a enjoyable and full journey with diabetes.
All right, well, I thank you both. So if you want to get more information on diabetes self-management education and find an educator like Christina, log on to cdc.gov/diabetestv. We'll see you next time. I'm Joan London.
Pros and cons. Pros. It is cost-effective by reducing hospital admissions and readmissions, reported to reduce the onset or progression of diabetes complications, improved quality of life. Cons. DSME programs have limited benefits for improving some behaviors, especially smoking cessation and food care.
Well, always take your medication like your doctor says. Always maintain the healthy, the healthy food choices. Be prepared for anything, especially nowadays with so many natural disasters happening. You need to keep some extra medications on hand. You need to keep a list of your medications, in case you can't communicate with someone. Keep extra clothing. Just take care of yourself. And when you go to your doctor, make sure you take all your medications, especially if you see other physicians for other conditions and stuff, because that way all the doctors are on the same page as you are and they know what's going on with you. But it's usually just a matter of fact of just taking care of yourself, making sure you've got everything that you need, your meds, your syringes, an extra glucometer if you can, if you can afford it, and just take care of yourself.
Issue in Ecuador. In Ecuador, the reported cases for diabetes mellitus were adults between 20 and 79 years. However, the number is much higher because more than half of the people who suffer from it doesn't know it. According to some data in Ecuador, there are around 500,000 people who suffer from diabetes, but only about 100,000 receive adequate treatment. Conclusion. DSME programs are highly effective to improve glycemic control, lipid profile, and BMI, while modestly effective to improve BNP. Also, they can reduce the risk of developing diabetes complications. Patient diabetes knowledge DSM behaviors, adherence to medication, self-efficacy, and quality of life also can be significantly improved by DSME. Thank you.